Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March the 25th. I am Pastor Terry from Tuscola United Methodist Church here with your daily devotional. How many of you are beginning to feel a little sorry for yourself? I'm going to raise my hand. I am. I'm really tired of being in my house. I'm really tired of not seeing people, not interacting with people. I miss the church. I miss the flexibility of my life. And so it occurred to me as I am sitting here feeling sorry for myself that it might be time to gain a sense of perspective. We live in modern times and in the Western world, and we have expectations. Those expectations are things like endless growing seasons where we will always have food, we will have freedom, we will have happiness, we can travel, we have insurance against risk, we have comfort, we have health, we have a low infant mortality rate, and we have a long life. This pandemic is posing a moderate and probably temporary challenge to that narrative. Think about this. 1 year from now, most of us will have forgotten what it feels like to be in isolation. This is temporary. And yet, the rest of the world, many places, are not nearly as lucky. We forget how fragile life is because we have things so sanitized here. Even when we go to a funeral, we see the person dressed up, wearing makeup, looking like they looked as close to as they looked in life as possibly can be created. We don't experience death in our homes very often, with a few exceptions, hospice care. For the most part, death is something that takes place in hospitals, in nursing homes. It is something that we have a sense of distance from. But that has not always been the case and is still not always the case in many parts of the world. So today I thought it would be a really good idea to remind ourselves how our expectations are actually very novel compared to how the world has worked for thousands and thousands of years and compared to many people who live on this planet. So I chose some scriptures today that talk about human life. One of the first ones I chose is First Peter chapter 1, verse 24. As Isaiah said, all life is like the grass, and its glory like a flower. The grass will wither and die, and the flower falls. That is a challenging scripture for us to read because it reminds us that we will not live forever. But even more than we will not live forever, the glory that we have built up in this life, whatever your glory is, perhaps your glory is that you have managed to provide well for your family. Perhaps your glory is that your house is always neat and clean. Perhaps your glory is the relationship you have with people you love. Everybody's glory is something different, but they are reminding us that our glory is going to fade as well. We are only here for a temporary time. Now, that can be really upsetting to hear, but we're going to put that into perspective in just a moment. Let's look at the next verse, Job 14, verse 1. And you know, if it's coming from Job, it's probably going to be a little depressing. Job says, humankind, born of woman, has a few brief years with much suffering. Wow, that one is a really hard one to swallow. But you know, most of the time we don't think about our suffering unless we're in the middle of it. We think about the joy of life. We think about the good parts of life. We think about seeing people that we love. The final verse I'm going to read to you is from Psalm chapter 78, verse 39. He was mindful that they were human, frail and fleeting, like a wind that touches one's skin for a moment and then vanishes. We have to remind ourselves that what we're going through right now is something that humanity has gone through since the dawn of time. I want you to think about something right now. If we lived in sub Saharan Africa, we would be a lot more used to death and frailty of life. Malaria, we know a little bit about malaria. Many of us have been involved in raising the nets to help stop the mosquitoes who carry malaria. Malaria is a preventable disease, and yet annual deaths are 438,000. And there are 214 million new cases each year. Each year, 214 million new cases. I'm not saying that things are particularly good right now. I'm not saying a little short pity party is going to be the worst thing in the world. But this reminds me that yes, life is fleeting, but our lives are so much better than the lives we would have lived in historical times, or lives we would live if we inhabited certain parts of the world. So today, when you're feeling sorry for yourself, and I know it's easy to do, I'm going to ask you to post something today that you feel really amazed when you think about. You feel really blessed when you think about it. It doesn't have to be something you're thankful for in the same way we posted last week, but some way that you feel blessed to live here and now. And so mine is going to be that even though we're going through this, even though our hospitals might be overrun, we might have some difficult times, we still have exceptional medical care right here and right now. We have well-trained doctors, nurses, and technicians. And because of that, our lives are much easier than many around the globe. Please share something with me that you feel blessed by as for living here and now. And I will see you all tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.